Hello. Uh, Something's kind of broken on my end. I don't know how bad it's gonna be, but normally I have like noise suppression. It's like the NVIDIA noise removal through like RTX. It is not working. I think the only way to get it to work would be to like completely redo drivers. So I don't want to do that because I'm already live and I didn't test that. I just modded a bunch of friends who are like, the people who are like always at streams, I basically gave a bunch of them mod. I don't know why. Partly because I don't have VIP yet. Which hopefully will be soon. If I'm not mistaken, that's like we're pretty close, but hi, welcome. I hope the background noise isn't too bad since my noise removal broke. It looks like it shouldn't be too bad, but if you do hear like an audible like background noise, that's probably my computer fans, and again, I do apologize for that breaking. Also, you'll hear a lot of button noise, which is also unfortunate because we're apparently playing a fighting game today. Given that I'm already starting later than I meant to because of the thingy breaking, I am going to just jump straight into the game before too long. Oh wait, we're not jumping straight into the game because I need to talk about something. Okay, on this screen, can you hear anything? Because, like, right now it's total silence, so you shouldn't be able to hear anything, and yet a lot of background noise seems to be coming through today, so just mouse clicks. Okay, that's good. So yeah, we're playing some Guilty Gear. Hopefully everything will go well. I have a plan. If you're wondering, wait, aren't Guilty Gear games really short? First of all, I want to talk about something else. This should be unsurprising to anybody who knows me, but I am very excited about something, and it's the whole reason why we're doing this today. We finally got a release date for Dizzy and Strive. It's October 31st. Boom. I already had this queued up because I'm so normal. So yeah, October 31st. Just getting added in, and I'm very excited. So I wanted to basically go through all of the games featuring Dizzy as a playable character. Well, the mainline ones. I don't make any promises about Death Strikers, Judgment, and Iska yet. Maybe if we have time or if I have the energy. But I really like Dizzy, and I kind of wanted to show why I really like Dizzy. And to do so, I thought it'd be fun to basically go through all of her arcade modes. Maybe not accent cores, it's very difficult, but at least also all of her story modes when applicable. And yes, I have a bit of a twist about that too. If you're familiar with the series, you might be curious how I'm going to handle the story mode of today's game, actually. But we'll talk about that later. And of course, because again, I'm so normal, I also just had the trailer itself queued up. I am very excited. And again, very normal, clearly. I have no clue how she'll play though, so I have no clue if I'll mesh with her playstyle. Imagine all this hype and then I don't like playing as her in Strive. There's a possibility that can happen, and that'd be really upsetting, obviously, but let's hope for the best. Yeah, Disney Princess vibes for sure. So yeah, I am very excited. I can finally get rid of these sources I've literally been keeping around all week, because again, I have been planning this for a very long time, so we'll just get rid of that and that to avoid using up more RAM than we need to. But not RAM as in Ramifal, RAM as in random access memory. That is a very, very poor pun, but let's jump in. So, Guilty Gear X is a weird game. It's actually the only mainline that hasn't been re-released on current gen. I have theories about that because I'm pretty sure this is a Naomi game, as in like Sega Dreamcast hardware, and we really haven't gotten many official re-releases of Naomi games. I remember hearing that Marvel vs. Capcom 2 was a big deal because it basically is the first attempt at, like, releasing a Dreamcast port of sorts through current hardware that isn't just like a rebuild of a game. You know, not like Sonic Adventure DX, where they kind of just rebuilt the game for a remaster. So yeah, let's see how this goes. Guilty Gear X plays really weirdly. It's missing a bunch of stuff, so I'm used to Accent Core, meaning this will probably be bad. So I'm actually going to play on beginner because I don't trust my ability to play this game very well. But if we look at key config, you'll notice we don't have hotkeys for a lot of things that we normally have hotkeys for. We do not have Dust, and we don't have RC as hotkeyable. So that's going to be fun, meaning to roaming cancel, you have to press like 3 buttons at once or something. And then for like Dust, you have to press slash and heavy slash together. So this is going to go great, and that's again why I'm playing on beginner, because I have a feeling I'm gonna get a little bit bodied even at beginner, just because I'm really not used to playing a Guilty Gear without Dust working that way. Also in this version, I'm pretty sure triangle is default colors, so we'll just jump in and play as Dizzy. I have a lot to say about this character, and again, part of the reason I wanted to do this was to kind of show off why I care about her so much, because when I got back into the series with Xrd, I really connected with this character a lot, so it's not really going to be obvious in this one just because there's like no story mode in Guilty Gear X. This is just an arcade mode, but to give a basic rundown of her story, Guilty Gear 1 involves a tournament where, like, basically Justice is trying to destroy humanity or something, so then Soul and Kai end up stopping her. But then Dizzy is the daughter of Justice, a half-gear, and basically, what am I trying to say? Basically is hunted by the government because they think she's going to be very dangerous as a half-gear. Basically, there's strong anti-gear sentiment, and so everyone's like scared of her, and thus she's basically on constant alert, being hunted. Testament is also looking after her, and basically trying to atone for working with Justice in the previous game. So yeah, in general, I think there's a very fascinating story at play, and yeah, Dizzy is the daughter of Soul as well, meaning, yeah, Kai and Soul are, like, Kai is Soul's son-in-law, which leads to a very good moment in Xrd where they actually realize it, and there's a whole, like, after-story chapter in Revelator where they just have like a really awkward family moment. It's like my favorite part of Xr's story. Like, unironically, this is like my favorite part of that story. It's just them like trying to figure out the dynamic at play. One of my favorite parts is at one point Kai goes to answer the door because Soul is there, and he's like, what do I say to him? And Soul just wants to like spar or something, and Kai's like so relieved that he doesn't have to talk about it yet. As confusing and timey-wimey as Guilty Gear can get, and like with Dizzy especially, there's some weird quirks to her story. I do feel like a lot of the quiet moments end up being my favorite parts sometimes, and that's definitely the case here. By the way, I haven't looked at a moveset for X in a bit, so I practiced a little bit to like get everything set up over the weekend, or actually like last week. But I kind of didn't look at her moves at all for this game. And again, they add moves later on, specifically like X2, later known as XX or Double X, which apparently it's like Dizzy's kind of a zoner, which I'm not really used to. Then again, I kind of play a lot of characters like zoners without meaning to. Zelda, obviously, and what game is she in when they give her the rework? It's Smash 4. Is a little bit more of like a zoner with the Phantom and everything. Also realizing they could definitely do more with that going forward. Looking at moves is against the spirit of fighting games. I beg to differ personally, but you do you. I personally like knowing what my character can do in a battle. So yeah, her wings are Sentient, Necro, and Undying, and are very powerful in their own right. So yeah, there's like a $500,000 bounty on her at this point. Everyone's after her. the canon of this game is particularly weird, and also X2 is kind of in the same boat, because series creator Daisuke Ishiwatari didn't really have a lot to do with the story modes of these games. They kind of focused more on like the gameplay side, from what I gather, but basically just took like key points of these games and worked them into like Xrd story, which ends in Overture 2, as that's like the first really big story push in the series. But basically, to make sure that people were like able to follow the story from the previous games as well, elements were brought in. Look it up in Street Fighter 2, they just want you to figure things out. Now looking at moves, only Gunflame, yeah, that's basically how Peter plays Guilty Gear, and it's really fascinating, as someone who's like trying to carefully, precisely learn moves. Like with Elfelt, my problem is I kind of forget like a lot of her moves. I think with Bridget, I would always forget Starship. I think that's the name of it. Partly because I don't like DPs. Partly because I'm a controller player, and I always have been. So yeah, I don't like DP motions in any game, and that's part of the reason why I like Guilty Gear, because I almost feel like you can get away with not learning stuff like that a lot more easily. Anyway, I'm just winging it. This is beginner. This is partly just an excuse to talk about Dizzy. Dizzy's probably my favorite character in the series at this point. In terms of story, I, for the longest time, didn't actually like Dizzy when I first played Accent Core, and it's mostly just because her outfit is weird. I'm not really a fan of it, and even now it's a little much, to be honest. It's, well, very, like, contrasting to her current outfit. But yeah, I don't think I said it because I was fighting tech issues, but hello, welcome everybody. Hope everyone is doing well. Today is Monday, last day of September. So yeah, I hope everyone had a decent day so far. My day has been odd, partly just because I have to wake up early. I don't like waking up early for streaming, but hopefully at some point my like actual sleep schedule is decent enough that I don't have to actually wake up early, and this is just when I wake up normally. But then some days like this, I just stay up till 5 AM playing a video game, so clearly I make good choices with my life. Yeah, the move pool in this game is really small. It's kind of interesting, actually. It almost feels like back to basics in a way with Strive, because it is paired back. But again, we don't know what her actual moveset is going to be in Strive yet. We only know she is in the game and is looking very pretty, and we don't actually know how the hell she plays, which is definitely a concern. Again, I'm not really someone who particularly meshes with her playstyle anyway, just because, again, she's a bit more of a zoner, I think. Alright, so how my day has been, help. I apologize, I don't think I can send help, as I'm currently fighting Milia. By the way, it's actually one of my least favorite characters to fight in Guilty Gear. Oh yeah, by the way, the control stick doesn't work in this game, so that's fun. Normally, what I do is use the D-pad for most things, but then for like forward circle motions, I end up using the control stick, but I can't do that here. Meaning, we're kind of having to wing it. Luckily, this is like the most restrictive game in that sense. This is definitely a game I would like to see a remaster of, or a redo of in some capacity, just because there is a lot of story attached to this game that is relevant going forward. I love only ever making good decisions. Me too. I only make the best decisions, clearly, with my life. Masato 1 is a really fascinating character as well, partly because he dies in this game. Basically, his familiar Eddie ends up taking over for a bit. I don't even know how he comes back, because as interested as I am in the character, I can't quite wrap my head around his lore, so I actually don't know how he's like back to being Zato in like Xrd onwards, because, yeah, where they kind of leave off with the character, he's still Eddie. Alright. This is great. And again, Zato is also kind of annoying to fight. Not a fan. Also, there's no aerial dust move, because dust is just heavy slash and slash together. So it's the same as, like, aerial slash or jump slash. Also, I'm not gonna talk about, like, you know, numpad notation, partly because my computer now doesn't have a numpad, meaning I can't literally look down and be like, okay, what is this called? I'm just gonna say like forward circle because I am kind of a scrub in that way. I'm trying to do like a back DP, which is not easy. Disney has another special too, and it's like forward, back, forward, and then quarter circle. And it's like really annoying to try to do as you're actually trying to also fight somebody. Also, it's really hard on the D-pad. I also don't know if she has it in this game. I probably should have looked first. There's also the IK system, or instant kill, where you press all face buttons together and then do like 2 quarter circle forwards and then heavy slash. That's not in this game for Dizzy, because Dizzy has a very special instant kill in the X games that is a nightmare in input, and I definitely want to show the input at some point, just because it is a headache to try to set up this input. I have no clue how you're supposed to do it. The general recommendation I've seen is basically taunt to lock yourself into a position, so like you don't accidentally jump or anything, but it's a really wild input. One of the most complicated inputs I've ever seen, though I'm also not like a KOF player. I hear that game can get very bad. It's him, Saul Goodman. I do like how, like, you have Saul Goodman, and then, like, it's not a pretzel, it's worse, in my opinion. I like how you have, like, Saul Goodman as a nickname, and then for the other characters, you just have, like, Asphalt, and, like, Brisket. Actually, now I'm gonna look. Yeah, it's forward, back, forward, then forward circle, heavy slash. And there's also like a shield one, which is... Wow, that's weird. The punch one, number 6. I have no clue how to input that either. I'm trying. Not successfully. Yeah, no, probably not going to be able to show that off, unfortunately. Yeah, I actually don't know if instant kills are a thing. I actually don't know if roaming cancels were in the first Guilty Gear. I don't think they were, which is fine. There's plenty of nonsense in Guilty Gear 1 anyway, and part of the reason we're doing a Dizzy retrospective specifically so I don't have to deal with deal with Guilty Gear 1 quite yet, because I actually don't like that game. I don't think anyone really likes that game, except for, like, the, you know, multiplayer aspect of just how stupid it is. But, like, actually trying to do the arcade mode, it sucks. And you have to do it, like, perfectly to be able to fight Baiken at the end. Basically, you have to win every round. Or, not every round, you have to win every, like, battle. You can lose a round, I think. But yeah, you basically have to have a perfect run in order to fight Baiken, and Justice really sucks. So, needless to say, I don't really feel like doing that again. But yeah, as you can tell, Dizzy is extraordinarily powerful, but also is, like, constantly afraid of hurting people with her power, which makes her a very fascinating character from that regard, because she's constantly, like, struggling to control her powers at this point, and is sort of, like, isolated in order to avoid hurting people. But later on in this, basically they kind of retcon a bunch of stuff in. For example, at this point, I'm pretty sure all we really know is that, basically that Dizzy is constantly being hunted by various bounty hunters. But I'm pretty sure, like, later on they establish the reason they find out about her in the first place is because, Kai ends up meeting her first. Which Baiken meme? There's a lot, actually. The one that comes to mind is the top surgery one, with Anji. But yeah, it's one of those where it's like, it kind of needs to be more specific. There's quite a few memes. Yeah, I'm not using Dust enough because it's weird in this game. I just don't really like using it. Whichever you want, okay. That really narrows it down. Okay, that sucks. Yeah, it's been fun, as someone who's liked Dizzy since Xrd primarily, and I feel like she got kind of overshadowed for a bit. Despite being a, like, fan favorite, I feel like she got a little bit overshadowed just because she wasn't in Strive for so long, so people ended up gravitating to, like, you know, obviously Brisket and Elfelt and characters like that, and Dizzy is still a very popular character, though. And it's been nice seeing all, like, the fan art and all the, like, love for this character. As someone who basically discovered the character later, because again, when I played Accent Core, I looked at her outfit and was like, I'm not gonna play this character. Though I almost feel like it's partly because of playing video games out in the living room and not wanting to be judged for playing a character who's dressed like this. Though then again, I also played Jam at that point, so I actually don't know if that argument holds up now that I think about it. Also, another change between 1 and X is Faust is Faust instead of Dr. Baldhead. So Faust is a fascinating character because he's actually not like a bad guy, basically. Just very unusual in like his movement and such, and obviously very lanky. It's him, Fist. I feel like that's a reference I am not understanding. Also, I am almost dead. I need to stop. Like, I need to actually pay attention. It's really hard doing this on a D-pad, actually. I'm using a DualSense, by the way, which is probably not the best D-pad. It's usually considered one of the worst D-pads for fighting games. Some people actually are, like, at pro level with a DualSense, and I don't understand how. But I like playing Faust? I don't know. Maybe try him out at some point. He's very different in Strive, though. They kind of go for a horror aesthetic, which is based on events of the another story that they added later. They basically explain how he got so messed up in that DLC story. But he's a very interesting character, like, genuinely. I think most Guilty Gear characters have super fascinating stuff to them, where, like, from a pure story standpoint, I don't think I dislike any Guilty Gear character. I obviously dislike them from gameplay reasons sometimes. Like, I hate fighting, you know, Chip, for example, but I have nothing against the character's, like, actual story. Some of the characters, though, like Chip and also, like, Giovanna right now, are mostly just kind of undercooked in terms of, like, lore. Like, obviously, characters that have been around since the beginning, like Dizzy, just have a lot more going on story-wise, though, again, I almost feel like she's kind of dropped off a little bit. I don't play Faust that often, but I know someone who does. He's very interesting. I can't quite wrap my head around how to actually play as him, but it's one where it's like, if you see high-level Faust play, it's really impressive because it just feels like so much nonsense is happening on screen at once. It's kind of like almost like trying to overwhelm your opponent, sort of. So we're in the home stretch. The final two opponents are always fixed as Testament and Dizzy. Unfortunately, we will not hear Dizzy's theme because there's actually a mirror match theme in X, and I think X2 also. By the way, X2 and Accent Core actually do have different stories, so during this little retrospective, I will be showing both separately in terms of like actually going through both, but I think I'll only do one arcade run, just because I don't think, I don't really want to put myself through boss level Eno more times than I have to, if I'm being blunt. It's the gender. Yeah, Testament's fascinating because they're very gender despite also technically being like agender practically, or like non-binary. It's very fascinating, but again, still very gender, nonetheless. So yeah, in the story, Testament is in this grove trying to protect Dizzy from all the intruders who are trying to go after the bounty. So it makes sense that they are the penultimate fight in this. Though again, there's the irony of if you're playing as Dizzy, then you end up fighting them anyway, along with Dizzy as Dizzy, so it's a little bit confusing. You also can see her true form in the intro. I don't think that ever comes into play beyond that, though. Which is kind of unfortunate. I almost feel like they should do something more with that. They kind of toy with the concept of her, like, you know, kind of restraining her powers a bit. There's a lot of theories on why, for example, both of her wings are more uniform now for Strive, and people wonder if it's because she's like more in control of her powers or something. Oh, that's bad. We are very much at a disadvantage right now. But again, we're playing on relatively low AI difficulty, so it's not a big deal. Yeah, Dizzy's a very interesting character. Like, I don't know why she has this, like, dragon tail. It's a very unique design, I think. That's part of the reason why she stands out, even in addition to, like, you know, other reasons potentially for her standing out. It's almost this case of, like, just a very unique character through and through. But again, I feel like her story is fairly basic in a way, but it's just kind of like nice and sweet actually, especially as you get into the later games and they kind of go into her arc of like being accepted more. It's kind of a found family situation, which we'll see after this fight. But again, unfortunately, we do not get her theme. We get the mirror theme anyway. This fight is gonna be kind of rough. Even on beginner, final bosses can still be hard. As someone who basically struggles constantly against, like, again, Ino and Accent Core. It's like surprisingly difficult even on the lowest possible difficulty, because fighting games really want your quarters. Also, Guilty Gear 1 wasn't even on arcades, if I'm not mistaken. It was only on PlayStation. This would have been the first like arcade Guilty Gear, if I'm remembering right. There's a lot of versions of this game too. I have plans to show off 2 of them after this, so obviously you might be thinking, wow, this is a short stream, but I do plan to show that other content as well. So that'll be fun in a bit, but first we need to get through this fight, which we're actually losing at the moment. We're down 1 round, but it's fine. Again, beginner AI, we shouldn't have too many issues here. You can also just spam moves, potentially, and get through that way. Maybe I'm trying to play too well. Maybe I'm actually, like, not being degenerate enough to actually make this easier. And if I just, like, spam moves constantly, maybe I'd actually be having an easier time, oddly enough. That's often the case with fighting games. Sometimes, like, spamming is actually effective because then people don't know how to react to it. They don't know how to counterplay, like, pure randomness, basically. We're not even using, like, her back circle or back quarter circle move enough, but there's, like, variations to it. Like, basically, depending on which button you press, you get a different, like, little guy to try to deal damage. But yeah, that takes care of Guilty Gear X. That was not very long at all, as arcade games tend to be relatively short. This game doesn't really have any story content, but there's a survival mode. Actually, Dizzy is unlocked by getting to level 30. It's not a linear scale. You basically gain levels as you fight. Only losing on the last fight is really good. I think I lost to Biken, didn't I? Or someone else. But yeah, there's no explanation for this, but in the story, after being stopped by Sol and Kai, basically Kai sets her up to live with the jellyfish pirates, including May and Johnny. So that's what this ending image is for. I wasn't looking? Okay, that's fair. But yeah, there's no direct story mode in this version, but again, I do have a plan, because there is actually another version of this game that does have a story mode, and I actually found a translation of everything. So we'll go through that. I'll try to read out everything as we go, try not to get completely destroyed while also reading out everything. Yeah, Guilty Gear X is pretty straightforward. Again, I would love a redo of this game, partly just get an official English translation of X Plus's additional story content, which we'll be going over next. But in general, it's just kind of a nice little easygoing arcade game. Again, I do like the sort of messages in this game, at least, of, like, you know, found family, with her connecting with the jellyfish pirates. And then she basically stays with them through the rest of the X games, and then eventually ends up, like, being in Kai's care, and then they eventually have a kid. That's a whole complicated thing in terms of, like, how gear, like, quarter gear reproduction would even work. Because if she's a half gear, then Sin would be a quarter gear, right? Does it work that way for gears? Also, gears are, like, I don't even know how to explain what a gear is, weirdly enough. I just know the term. Again, clearly I thought this out, and this wasn't a spur-of-the-moment thing, and I almost streamed, like, Sonic Ring Racers instead, or Dr. Robotnik's Ring Racers instead, because I'm that organized of a person. Yeah, overall that went pretty okay. These credits are surprisingly long for being like a 2001 arcade game, or like 2000, I forget the year. Super Being? World's strongest 5-year-old, basically. And like, in this game, Dizzy is supposed to be 3, but basically in human years is closer to like late teens, early 20s. And yeah, Sin is like essentially kind of like an adult at this point, if that's the case, because if he's 5, then he'd already be in his 20s, basically. It's weird, it's complicated. But yeah, that's Guilty Gear X overall. Again, it's kind of weird that this is the one missing piece of the Guilty Gear story in terms of like, you can play it on current hardware. This one's just kind of stuck on like PS2 and Dreamcast and other means, shall we say. I guess I'll just put this. This is sort of like this is the acronym of my username, so that works, I suppose. Yeah, that takes care of that. So we are going to move on to something else. The other high score is my like practice attempt, so I actually did better than my practice run, which is a nice feeling. And they actually keep individual scores for every character, so that's pretty cool. So yeah, luckily, because same hardware and everything, it'll be very easy to set up in a moment. But again, in terms of other content, there kind of isn't any, so we'll be moving on to something else. Alright, so we're going to close that, and then we'll switch gears, haha, to something different. So, we're switching over to the Japanese-only Guilty Gear X Plus, which does add story content that wasn't in the other versions. There's also Guilty Gear X 1.5, I think, which is mostly just a balancing thing. I don't even think it has extra story stuff. I think it also has the same intro, if I'm not mistaken, but I actually don't remember. BRB, okay. So yeah, luckily, even though this will be in Japanese, there are plenty of fan translations online, so we will be able to understand it. The other thing I'm kind of debating right now is how I want to go about this, because you technically have to do the story mode 3 times, but we could definitely, shall we say, circumvent that with the way I'm currently playing it. So we might be able to skip through some of it. But yeah, this is Guilty Gear X Plus, released on the PS2. Actually, I think it came out in Japan before X came out in the US on PS2. So basically, they were a whole like version behind. This version adds a bunch of cool stuff. I also need to get used to Circle now being confirmed and X being cancel. But they added a challenge mode where you can unlock various gallery images by doing these challenges. These are actually really hard, so unfortunately I will not be able to show this off particularly well. And definitely use like save stating to get through some of them in order to actually unlock some other things to show off. So another thing to go over is in options, we also have like this option for GG mode, which basically like I think allows you different movesets for certain characters, like altered movesets. But also, luckily, we have actual hotkeys now, so we can actually map Dust to the proper button, and also we can map roaming cancel to a button. But unfortunately, I probably will not be using roaming cancels anyway, just because I find them very, very inconvenient in this game. There's also a password system. I'm pretty sure the passwords were given from, as it says, Guilty Gear Petite 2, which was a, I can't remember, I think it's Wonder Swan, right? Or is it Wonder Swan or Neo Geo Pocket? I think it's Wonder Swan. But yeah, you can get codes in this game that'll work in this game and allow you to unlock like certain characters early. You can also unlock bonus challenges. So if we go back to the challenge menu, you'll notice that there are extra challenges at the end rated These are endings. Basically with the difficulty of Petite, and these are bonuses by linking the games through these codes. Unfortunately, Dizzy is not playable in the Petite games. I would love to show them off at some point, just because they're really interesting. They kind of have the same energy as like a lot of the handheld games that both Capcom and SNK were doing with like chibi art styles. But for this, we're just going to jump straight into the story mode. And again, I do have everything written out. The Guilty Gear Wiki, and like you can also find a translation on like game FAQs and stuff like that. So we'll just jump in. So assuming this translation is correct, this should say something like an abominable, abandoned child, this descendant of man and demon, an impossible being. Her name is Dizzy, the strongest gear on Earth, who possesses a heart. A strength that can rend the earth, burn the heavens, and destroy humans. While holding a strength the powers of the world seek for, what she seeks is just some contact. That feels like a very rough translation, but that's what I'm working with. So our first fight is against Testament. Please let me go, is what she's saying there. Before you is the world you threw away, a world stained with blood and hate. Again, I feel like this is a very literal translation in some ways. I'm sorry, even so I want to see it is Dizzy's next line, but I think it hasn't actually scrolled off, so that's this one. I can actually see Gomen in the top line. I'm sorry, even so I want to see it. You are too kind. When you meet the fools out there, it is you who will hurt. Or will be hurt. Even so, I want to go. Then show me how willing you are to go through with it. So basically, Testament is trying to test if Dizzy is strong enough to go out on her own. It'd be really short story mode if she wasn't. And obviously, we already have a problem with what we already talked about previously, but we'll go into more detail later. So now I can actually use dusts more effectively because I can actually just press R like I normally would. Again, having grown up with like Accent Core, I'm really more used to that than like the weird setup they have where you have to press heavy slash and slash together. Testament wants to test your ment, basically, because they're basically her protector. So yeah, overall this is a pretty easy fight. This is the first fight after all, and also I am playing on beginner still. I think story mode difficulty does transfer, so luckily this isn't too bad. So yeah, that was very short. So next up we should have Potemkin. Hello, are you a soldier? By the orders of Zep, I must take you. Zep is like a country, I think. Again, I'm really behind on the lore, clearly. That's somewhat of a problem. I'm sorry, it's an order from my commander. You won't be hurt. It's dangerous. So basically, like, everyone is trying to capture her at this point because she's the most powerful gear now that Justice is gone. But the problem is, it's this case of like, oh, I promise I won't hurt you, and Dizzy's like, I don't think that's the problem here. It's the other way around. Potemkin is also a really interesting matchup. I don't really like fighting Potemkin, mostly because I don't really like fighting grapplers in any game, just because they deal so much damage. Zep is indeed a country. Okay. And hello, welcome. Oh, that's bad. Ow. So yeah, that's a third of our life gone. Because that's just how Potemkin kind of rolls. Recently in Strive, they actually buffed his damage, which I know caused a lot of stir, because it's like, why did they need to increase his damage for like Heavenly Potemkin Buster and stuff like that? Ow, that hurt. Alright, so far so good. Next is Kai. Are you also someone out to get me? I'm afraid it will end up that way. Is there no freedom for me? Those who cannot fight do not have freedom. Right now, your very existence is a threat. But I didn't want this power in the first place. So yeah, basically Dizzy and Kai's first meeting is completely retconned going forward. So yeah, that's worth keeping in mind for an upcoming thing later on. Alright, so I don't think we fought Kai in the arcade mode, so this will be interesting. Interestingly, I used to play Kai a bit more in the first game, partly because I don't really have a main in Guilty Gear 1, and then, you know, obviously, you know, in later games I do have plenty of choices. But yeah, in the first game, Kai is just the easiest character to pick up. I don't like charge characters. If you're wondering why I don't play Mei, is I literally can't do a charge input. Though again, maybe it's because I use a PS controller for a lot of these games. And, you know, I started on PS3, which, yeah, trying doing a charge input on that console, it probably wouldn't go well. So next is Sado. I found you, Parasite. Who are you? The same as you, a fighting machine with a heart. So this is specifically Eddie talking. How pitiful, the same as me. You've been enduring loneliness too, haven't you? You know? You know, then give me that body, I want to see your heart. And that's just like, Kya! I don't know if I can do that sound very well. I need to voice train, I really do. I've been putting it off too long. Definitely lacking motivation for that, but streaming is supposed to help with that. But even then, I feel like I'm not doing the best job, mostly just because I keep slacking on it. Also, with like reading out this dialogue, I'm realizing I'm just kind of reading it. I'm not like trying to, you know, play it up or anything, you know, get in character or anything like that, which isn't necessarily a bad thing per se, but it's just, you know, an observation. I also need to remember how I have things set up, for something else. If I screw this up, it's fine, but we'll have to go through all these fights over again, basically, which isn't a problem. We're not even at an hour in the stream, so we could just do this legit, but just to save ourselves a little bit of time and headache in a moment, I think I will do something that is not right. There we go. I hope that works. Next is Faust. Enough! Everyone wants to catch me, and then I end up hurting them, because I have this power. This is a long text box, actually. Raise your head, young lady. You've come to take me too. How terrible, innocence closed off in sadness and fear. I hate to presume, but allow me to heal you. So this is the first branching path. We also get art for this, so it's kind of a special encounter actually. Yeah, this is our first branch. There are 3 major branches. Unfortunately, the last one's in the final fight, so it'll be a bit until we get to that point. But we will go for essentially the bad ending first. We also get a little fancy opening. Faust starts actually at lowered health, and if I'm not mistaken, Dizzy is actually powered up in this fight. So if we dash forward, you'll notice she's really fast and hits really hard, meaning this fight's actually very easy. So yeah, we'll be able to win this no problem, but there is actually a problem with how easily we're actually getting through this fight, which we'll see shortly. There we go. Piece of cake. No problem. What have I done? You just missed Faust getting obliterated. So you come 2, good. I'm sorry. To fall while pursuing medicine was this body's fate. Please don't be concerned. Mr. Doctor, please don't die. Listen, humans may be foolish, but will not do to despair. One day your day will come. Mr. Doctor, this world has no place for me, but I won't despair anymore. I will sleep until the day comes when someone can accept me. No matter how long it takes, I will never forget you. So yeah, in this bad ending, Faust dies, and Dizzy basically seals herself away because of her powers. So she basically seals herself away until she can be accepted. So yeah, this is kind of a bummer ending, actually, but we do get special artwork for it. This does count as ending 1, apparently, which is kind of interesting because it's like non-canon. Clearly, because, you know, Faust is in all the other games. Therefore, this again is very much a non-canon ending, for obvious reasons. But yeah, that's just the first of multiple endings in this particular game, and again, we will resume to try to get the other endings too, because obviously it's a bit of a downer, to be blunt. I also don't know if this will scroll off automatically or if I have to actually push a button here. I assume I'll have to push a button to move on, but also, hypothetically, if you're playing on actual hardware, you would have to play through all this over again. However, we are not playing on actual hardware, so I can just do this. So yeah, we're back at this fight now. Let's hope this goes better this time for Faust. To actually move on to the other endings, what we have to do is deliberately lose this fight. Which makes sense, since Faust is trying to help us in a way that we essentially have to let him knock us out of this, like, powered-up state, essentially. This is also one of Dizzy's, like, specials. Imperial Gamma Ray, I'm pretty sure is the name of it. Very, very complicated input. It's like, yeah, the back, forward, back, quarter circle forward one. So yeah, we just kind of have to chill now and let Faust win this fight. Like so. It's very interesting, actually, in the story modes of these games that you often have to lose fights on purpose in order to actually proceed. And again, trying to actually get through this, like, first time would probably be really confusing, like, trying to figure out where to actually, like, lose and everything. And, like, Guilty Gear X2 has some really annoying stuff in that regard, too, where it's, like, basically, you have to, like, win fights in such specific ways, or lose fights in such specific ways, and, like, how are you supposed to know this without, like, looking up a guide? So yeah, we're back on track for the main story. What? I was... Good, have you come too? I'm sorry. You've been lost, haven't you? Searching for somewhere to be. Just because I'm here, just because I'm alive, it seems a lot of people are troubled. No need to worry, as long as your heart is free, the path will open to you. And then 3 days later, is what that says. Well, I was told to come here, but where is this? Yeah, watch out! Eh? From the sky? Ow, ow. So yeah, we have to fight Mei now. She is our next opponent. I actually find Mei a really difficult character to fight as well, just because dolphins. When I tried going through this off screen, I definitely had trouble with like just getting spammed by dolphins constantly. So we'll see how this goes here. Again, we're playing on beginner, so it shouldn't be too bad. Again, mostly just wanted to show off the story content because again, this is like fairly obscure, and I actually really find like I like showing off, or I'd like to show off like more obscure like gaming stuff like this going forward. Again, I kind of don't entirely know what kind of niche to have my channel in, to be honest. I don't know if that makes sense. But it's just kind of like been interesting to just kind of decide how to approach things for the channel. Again, this is definitely a little bit outside my wheelhouse for streaming since I've mostly played like other types of games. This is the first fighting game I would have played, and definitely a non-conventional first one. So like before, we're gonna do a thing right here because this is the next branching path, and to save ourselves a little bit of time. Are you sure you only feel hurt? Yeah, I was just a little surprised, but it's my fault anyway. You're dizzy, right? Johnny's waiting for you. Just be you and do what you want? Yeah, that's kind of my feeling, but I also would like to, you know, mix it up occasionally with what I play. I'm allowed to, wait, which part is that? Your Sky Pirates. Yo, looks like May found you alright. Welcome to the Jellyfish Pirates. I'm allowed to stay here? Trying to read all this dialogue out is very difficult, actually. To this Johnny, there is no no to a pretty lady, is what I'd like to say, but let us test your skill. Partly just because I'm mildly dyslexic, so I'm having trouble remembering what line I'm supposed to read. That's dangerous, please don't come any closer. If you don't lose yourself in battle, you pass. Try winning without killing me. Oh, what a good challenge. This is a well thought out plan, Johnny. Nothing can go wrong here, totally. So we're actually gonna go out of order. We're gonna go for ending 3 before ending 2, just because it's also kind of an odd ending. So this ending is really weird. If I'm not mistaken, we have to win with the timer as a multiple of 11. So this is gonna be complicated. Part of the reason I want to go for it first is because if I botch it, then we have another chance. But again, I would like to show this ending first, just because, again, it's a little bit more of a downer ending compared to ending 1. I don't think we'll barely miss 77, so we just have to chip him out until, like, 66, apparently. So yeah, really weird condition here. Dang, just a moment too soon, or too late. I didn't think it would be a grab. So we got ending 2. Phew, okay, you pass. That was dangerous since everything was so serious. Hey, this Johnny will put his life on the line for a lady. You're a kind girl. You've just had some bad luck with men up to this point. So once again, welcome to the Jellyfish Pirates. That is an interesting way to put it. And again, I wonder how much that's just a translation quirk of this, like, again, this, like, game FAQs post of, like, translating all the stories. Yes, thank you very much. Now everybody, preparations for the welcome party! So yeah, she's part of the group now. Again, kind of the same ending as in the arcade mode normally, but just kind of more fleshed out. Yeah, Johnny's a very interesting character. I will say right now, his story is kind of... I don't want to say... maybe stagnating is the right word, just because, like, the situation with him and May, because, like, May likes him, but he doesn't really reciprocate. That just kind of feels like it's dragging on until the end of time in a way that's like, it hasn't progressed story-wise in a very long time, and people are hoping that Strive would, considering how many other characters had, like, growth arcs, but Johnny kinda didn't. Alright, so once again, we're gonna do a thing, just for the sake of saving time, I'm just gonna do that, and we're gonna go through this fight again. So yeah, this might take a few attempts, just because the time window is so strict for trying to actually win this fight and get ending 3. Again, I didn't actually mean to go in order. I definitely wanted to get ending 3 first. This might take a couple of tries, actually. It did on my practice attempts, just because of just the, like, nuance of timing this out. Also, Dizzy's moves have, like, the weirdest names, and they constantly get renamed, too. So I have no clue what to call these moves beyond, like, input names. And, with Soul, there's plenty of, like, actual terminology. With Dizzy, it's like, the terminology is so weird, I can't, like, begin to, like, actually spell it out. Or we can just die in this fight, that works, too. I mean, that's okay, I think it'll just put us back at this fight. That's not, like, a fail state or anything. So we'll give it another go here. Again, really weird win condition, and I don't even think this is the weirdest win condition that we'll be running into, unfortunately. I'm really worried about an ending in X2 that's like really esoteric to try to unlock. This also went way faster than I thought, partly because I'm not, like, doing the entire story modes over and over again for reasons. For X2 we will have to, just because I have that on Steam, meaning I can't, like, save state like we are now, unfortunately, so this will take a little bit longer to get through. Alright. There we go. That should be good for ending 3. Again, it's really hard to time that, actually. I'm also getting the sad music again. And then 100 years passed. Johnny, the reason I am here now is thanks to you. You're always cheerful and playful, and even so you're always fighting to protect something important. Now I have something to protect as well. Please watch over us today. So, like, this ending's weird because of the time skip, but, like, is the implication that Johnny also dies in this ending? And then, like, Dizzy's still part of the group for some reason? This is really a confusing ending, and it's partly I just think the script is a little bit, unclear over how this works. That same day, this says subordinate, rising to 6,000 meters. Jellyfish pirates, after me. So yeah, she's leading the jellyfish pirates now. All forces in formation. What about the other group? Third Holy Order now deploying. ZEP Airborne Divisions number 1 through 5 have arrived. Okay. Will that person not come? Unidentified high-energy source coming from port. Communication coming in. Idiot thinking of starting the battle without everybody here. Frederick. So I guess it's Soul leading the other forces. I've also completely lost track of where this dialogue is at. High energy source is an ally, make way. Understood, giving recognition code. Recognition code Sun. Chani, please watch over us. All forces attack. Our target is the enemy forces axis. So yeah, I read a bit ahead there. I lost track of where it was supposed to be. Basically all the dialogue boxes to the side are the other jellyfish pirates, and then the ones in the center are for Dizzy. Dizzy is supposed to be December, actually. Her canonical birthday is December 25th, and there is no jellyfish pirate for December. So it's sort of an indirect thing. But yeah, she is supposed to represent December. So yeah, obviously this ending isn't canon because there's a time skip and she's still with the Jellyfish Pirates. So, at the end of the day, the fascinating thing about Guilty Gear X Plus is, despite it being the first major game to have a story mode outside of the arcade, none of these endings are canon, for Dizzy at least, because none of them line up with what we know going forward in the series. If you want to know the canon interpretation, the official website for Guilty Gear Strive does have is Dizzy a moth? She has the wings. But yeah, on the official website for Guilty Gear, there are comics that basically detail what is considered the canon interpretation of X's story, which is basically, yeah, Kai and Soul ends up trying to fight Dizzy, Kai intervenes, also Soul spares her, Kai helps relocate her to the Jellyfish Pirates, and Jam also accepts the bounty and opens a restaurant, if I'm not mistaken. So that is my understanding of the canonical tale of the events, meaning Guilty Gear X is weird because besides the arcade mode, which there isn't any direct story in, the actual story mode is just sort of like a generalized telling of certain events that don't necessarily line up with what is now considered canon. So a lot of things have been retconned out of this. So the irony of showing the X games is this kind of doesn't matter for anything current in the story. So it's kind of ironic going through this just because I wanted to show it off. But yeah, none of these story modes actually like matter in terms of like canon. So that was fun. I actually do have one more surprise lined up, but I actually need a moment to set that up. I can also close this like list of all the ending translations for now, because the next time I'll need like the flow chart for endings is Guilty Gear X2. But I do have something else special planned. This is going to be very silly, but if you're familiar with Guilty Gear X, you might know there are two more versions. Again, 1.5, which is just kind of like a balance patch. Again, that might be arcade only even. I don't fully remember if it was just arcade or if it was also ported to actual consoles. Wow, I have a lot of tabs open right now. But there is still one more version that I thought might be kind of amusing to show off, just because it's very, like, let's say unique is a good way to put it. I don't know if it's a good version of the game. I don't know if I'd go that far, but it's definitely a unique version. So yeah, I figured it would be worth at least going over a little bit. Gonna do this. And I need to set the window to be capturing this now. And then I have to resize it to the right resolution because it's way too big right now. There we go. Try to center it to the best of my ability. I have to reset all this for X2 next week. So that'll be fun. Assuming I do it next week. So yeah, you might notice the giant license by Nintendo text, but we're going to restart the game for the sake of the intro. It would help if I also unpause this. So our final X game for this little retrospective is the Game Boy Advance version. Yes, there is a Game Boy Advance version of Guilty Gear X. That is loud. I need to volume adjust. One moment, I didn't test this enough and ow. Turn that way down because it sounds awful. My bad, I'm sorry. Alright, so we're going to take a quick look at Guilty Gear X Advanced Edition, which, as the name implies, is a handheld port. Do they actually have an intro? They do not have an intro. That doesn't surprise me. Also, I planned ahead so well, I didn't actually set controls. So one moment, as I actually, like, map buttons for this, I'm the most organized person, clearly. You kinda like this song now? Oh. Your introduction. Oh, that's an interesting starting place. I'm actually kind of surprised I never really heard much about this game for the longest time. In terms of, like... Brain, please. I'm trying to word so badly, and I'm having the hardest time putting anything into words right now. You know, I played so many Game Boy Advance games, I'm almost surprised I didn't ever discover this. Did I not do that? One moment. The most organized streamer, clearly. Yeah, it would help if I had select and start, actually. There we go, that should work now. That still feels loud. I'm gonna turn that down even more, actually. 'Cause ow. Let's try there and see if that's good. We can go even lower, potentially, if it's still too loud, which it might be. So yeah, Guilty Gear X Advanced Edition obviously is a very scaled back version of Guilty Gear X in some ways, but is oddly authentic in others. We still have all the 4 buttons we need to actually make this work. Again, we obviously don't have like hotkeys for, or like macros as they're called for Roman Cancel or Dust, but we still have Punch, which is on L by default. We have Kick, which is on B, Slash, which is R, and Heavy Slash, which is A. This game is 1 year older than you. That is... I'm trying to process how I feel about that. So, how do I want to do this? I think I'll put Kick on A, Heavy Slash on B, and we'll put Punch on L and Slash on R, I guess. There's also a color edit option. That's not in the console version. Though again, I guess it would also be easier to set up just because... Oh, we might have a problem, actually. We might have a problem. I need to check something really quickly. Yeah, we have a problem. Luckily, there's a code option. I basically didn't prepare for this at all, but luckily there is a password to unlock characters all at once, or at least some of them. Also, I forgot to mention, with Guilty Gear X Plus, they actually add the ability to unlock Cliff Anderson and Justice as well in X Plus by doing challenges. So that's another cool detail of that version. And press start, press down, right, up. Down, right, up. That is for Guilty Gear X. What is the code for Advance? All extra mode characters unlock Dizzy, down, R, L, R. There we go. And Testament is up, down, right, left, A. Okay. Got that in just in time. Hope that worked. Oh, this is crunchy. Yeah, that is very crunchy. So let's see if the codes worked, first of all. So we will go into the color edit again, just to see if they're there. That is an interesting color palette for Dizzy. Actually, I think that is one of her defaults, actually. Yeah, you can actually do basic color editing. Again, I kind of wish they'd do this in more games, to be honest. Also, how the heck do I leave this menu? I feel like I'm stuck here. Hello? There we go. Oh, that was B. There we go. We're finally free of that menu. B. We'll save since we used the code. I'm pretty sure for Guilty Gear X on like console, it doesn't actually save the code. You actually do have to unlock them. So that is one thing the GBA version has over the other. There's also a 3v3 mode. I don't know what this is like, but maybe we'll dabble in that a bit. So just for lulz, how about we do an arcade run of Guilty Gear X Advanced Edition? By the way, this game doesn't have categories for all the different versions, so there's a reason I haven't updated the title at all, because it's the same on everything. There's just Guilty Gear X, which makes some sense, but it is kind of odd that other games do have more like nuanced categories than this. Alright. This is a really weird port because on one hand, I think it plays poorly, but on another hand, it's almost impressive how like the fundamentals are still basically there, but just really rough around the edges. Like all the inputs still work. Wait, what is slash? That's slash. There we go. Yeah, that's Potemkin in this. There we go. Now, the original design. I keep pressing triangle because of instinct, but triangle doesn't work. I should have actually just put L and R on square and triangle. That would have made my life so much easier, actually. Like, this music sure is something. Yeah, I definitely should have selected that a little bit differently. For some reason, I'm having an easier time inputting forward circle motions on this version than others. It's really weird. I'm genuinely confused by that. So yeah, that's slash. Yeah, the fundamentals are all there, and like balancing seems okay. Yeah, I'm more used to like the X-Star and onwards designs for most characters, because again, I didn't actually play Accent Core that much. I just kind of dabbled in it a little bit as I was getting into fighting games. That's a whole story in itself, which I might as well talk about since we're going through all these games, or going through the arcade mode again. Essentially again, even though it's a different version. Basically, I got into Guilty Gear because I had friends who were super into fighting games, and I am really bad about, like, people-pleasing, to be really blunt, so I really wanted to fit in, so I tried to dabble in a bunch of fighting games. So that included mostly, like, BlazBlue, and a little bit of Guilty Gear, but, like, I didn't really get into it partly because my controller broke, basically. I was using a PS3 controller, and those are, in my opinion, very unreliable. I don't know how I feel about this song. It's like they tried. I have to give them that. They tried. I don't know if they did a good job, but I definitely think they... like, effort went into this version, and that I can respect it for. But, it is definitely not, like, you know, how I would want to play this game traditionally. Like, everything is recognizable. The backgrounds feel a little bit rough, I'd say. The character sprites look decent, I'd say, but the backgrounds look a little bit like, a little Game Boy Color-ish in terms of like lacking color palettes. Are her wings swapped? Are they? Like in the sprite or in the victory screen? Undyne should be on her right. Necro should be on her left, right? Or am I completely misremembering? I might be completely off base. It could be a palette limitation. Like, if we switch sides, instead of, like, having... Actually, I can't tell, really. I'm a little bit confused. It actually does look like it swaps when you change sides, which I guess makes sense, but... I like this song. This is not my favorite rendition of it, obviously. Shoot. This punch. That is not Slash. We won. Cool. Yeah, I think our wings are right. Wait, on that one, that doesn't look right. I don't think. I am gonna try to win on the left side this time, and figure out if that's the issue. There was a move that made it look like her wings swapped sides. So yeah, I wonder if it's just like a weird limitation. Okay, yeah, I think it's a case of if you're on the right, for some reason it flips the sprite in such a way that makes the entire sprite mirror. So yeah, and that victory screen. And also here, it's like, should that be right? Sorry, I'm like losing, I feel like I'm losing it right now, because I'm trying to process everything happening. Like... trying to remember, like, it's like a Mandela effect, basically. What direction are her wings in? Anyway, we're moving on to Zato. Again, in the rest of, like, X2 and Accent Core, he's actually referred to as Eddie, because Eddie takes over. Again, not really sure how they bring him back, to be honest. Never really delved into that part of the lore. Even got a stun. But yeah, actually, I want to see what a dust looks like. Which would be what? Circle, or B in this case, and... It's like almost playing a Street Fighter with like 6 buttons, where like a bunch of stuff is on the triggers. That actually looked better than I thought it would, to be honest. Again, the sounds are like, they're trying. Again, I do feel like the character sprites were the priority, and thus the backgrounds look a little rough. Like, the backgrounds do look like the previous gen of, like, Game Boy Color, I'd say, if I had any, like, critique about this version. GG... Dizzy... Because now I feel like I need to look up how this works. Yeah, Necro is supposed to be on the left. Undyne on the right. So... the victory screen has her wings correct. Okay. So it's in the fight screen where her wings are actually backwards, I think. Wow, I feel like a fake fan now after getting that messed up. Yeah, here it's actually wrong. I think it's just a color thing, and now I'm like having to second guess myself. Was it like that for the other game too? Like, was that the case for X? And like, because I think in gameplay her wings are traditionally like this, aren't they? Because I could have sworn, maybe not, I don't know. I'm second guessing everything now. But I would imagine, at least for this version, it's about readability. Because there's a problem of like, if she had a dark colored wing at the foreground, she might be harder to spot in the environment. Oh, this is a song. This is a song. Yeah, her sprite usually does show Undyne on her right. Like, in normal gameplay. So again, I guess in gameplay it's usually mirrored. And again, I'd chalk that up to visibility, where it's like, oh, you want the brighter colored wing against the foreground just so it contrasts the background more, or something like that. British penis music, basically. I felt like my mind has been blown that I never realized that before, but yeah, looking through screenshots of like AC plus R, her wings are actually backwards in gameplay versus in artwork. Yeah, Undyne is usually on her left, so yeah, that makes sense. Also, Venom is getting added soon, like winter, I think. I think early 25 is what they said. So there's gonna be a bit of a gap, unfortunately. Venom is also a really fascinating character. My understanding of Venom's lore is he basically is working with the same Assassin's Guild as Zato 1 and Milia. Basically has a one-sided crush on Zato, who is very much more interested in Milia. So yeah, a lot of their endings have like a lot of Venom's endings have a sort of tragic component to them, which I find really fascinating. I wouldn't listen to them by themselves, but I'm fine with it. Ow. This is not going well, which is actually par for the course. Venom, I'm not really good at fighting zoners, so yeah, I'm not surprised that Venom is kind of playing up a fight like this. I'm processing this song right now. I really don't know how to feel about this one. This just feels like noise at a point. It's trying, but like... I don't know how successful it's trying. That's not the input I wanted. There we... Nope, still not. What's with the demon back there? I actually don't know. I mean, it's in the console version too. Or like just, I think it's also an X too, because they reuse a lot of backgrounds and just update them. So yeah, it's like, it's just part of the normal stage. Again, they did an admirable job of trying to port all this. By the way, these games were actually published by Sammy, which is now known as merging with Sega to become Sega Sammy. And that caused all sorts of problems. So that's why like Dizzy isn't in certain games, because they had to write her out for legal reasons actually. Like in Overture, like they were having issues getting the rights to characters. Ooh, that's a background. Yeah, that's very like red compared to what it's supposed to look like, where it's more like sunset, but like, yeah, it almost was Game Boy Color because of the lack of contrast and backgrounds. I'm just kind of spamming at this point. Again, it's like oddly competent. Like it's one of those things of if you kind of know what you're doing, it's an actually decent version of the game. It's just, would I recommend this? Probably not. Would I like fight them on it if they put this on NSO? Absolutely not. I think this would be a great NSO game. Just like, because it'd be wild for like NSO to have the only officially released version of Guilty Gear X on a console. So again, I don't know if they do that. Though then again, ArcSys did work on another code earlier this year, so who knows. But again, also with like Sega Sammy and everything, I don't know what the hell the licensing on this game is at this point. Also, I'm pretty sure they actually added in an expanded ending for all the characters in the GBA version because it did come out a little bit later. So, like, I think they do incorporate, like, something from Plus and at the very end. But I actually don't remember because I'm bad at, like, remembering things. Turns out, my memory is very bad. Truth be told, I just kind of feel like, oh. What am I even thinking of? Like, what is this reminding me of is what I'm wondering. It's reminding me of something. Like, it's missing, like, so many audio channels, basically. But again, points for trying. My biggest issue with this version is just it sounds bad. Like, it almost feels okay to play. Again, if you could, like, move L and R to like, Y and X, this version wouldn't be too bad. But the biggest issue is just it sounds rough. Is there a sound test in this version? I need to look after this fight, or after the arcade run. If there's actually... Oh, that's Slash. There we go. How did I get this in this version, but not the console version? Because I was trying in the console version and botched the input every time. So I'm actually kind of upset that I got it in this one of all places. Yeah, Imperial Gamma Ray, I think is the name of the move. That's her like most powerful super in most games. So I wonder if it'll be in Strive, given like the change in direction where it feels like she's more in control of her powers than she used to be. Like if she'll have the recoil that she normally does. But once again, we're fighting Testament, and again, we do have Testament and Dizzy as our final bosses, as usual. Testament's also the final, like, penultimate character in Guilty Gear 1 too, because they're protecting Justice. So yeah, second time in a row, and they kind of stopped that in the next one. I actually don't think there's a penultimate fixed fight in... Ow. I don't think there's actually a penultimate, like, fixed fight in X2, because I almost feel like, Yuna in the story is mostly tied to that man who isn't actually playable for a bit. And yes, the character is actually referred to as that man at this point in the series, so that is the canonical designation. I am not forgetting the character's name and saying that man, because I don't remember. That's just how Guilty Gear tends to be sometimes. Notmund. Asuka's a fascinating character, and I still don't quite know how to feel about fighting him, because it's like, oh, that's a lot of stuff on screen at once, and I have no clue how to process anything that's happening. Whenever I look up like high-level Asuka play, I'm like, what am I looking at? It just looks like a bunch of stuff lying around constantly. Yeah, parts of this game seem like they have decent production value, but others kind of feel not great. It's a very mixed bag, but again, it is a perfectly playable version of Guilty Gear X, weirdly enough. Shadow Wizard Money Gang, basically. Yeah, looking at like Evo and stuff, it's like, yeah, I don't blame anyone for not knowing how to fight that, especially if you're like ABBA, like how do you make up the speed differential, or Potemkin for that matter. Okay, now I'm curious about something. Do they have an alternate, like, mirror match theme in this version? Or is it actually just playing RFC? I think it's just playing RFC, which is like, I'm sad that this is the first time we've heard it in game tonight, and it sounds like this. Because again, if you ask me what my favorite, like, Guilty Gear song was, like, if you go classic, it would be this. Usually. Modern, I'm torn. Well, actually, I have one from each era, weirdly enough. My favorite from Xrd is Marionette, which means we're actually 2 for 2 for Alpha having my favorite theme in Guilty Gear, which is weird, because I actually don't play Alpha in Xrd because she is very complicated. But yeah, I love her theme in Xrd and Strive too. So yeah, 2 for 2 for having, in my opinion, one of the better character themes. Yeah, I almost didn't recognize it. Yeah, I had some think. Dizzy finally found the happiness she's dreamed of. Everything she has hoped for is finally in her grasp. This time it's not a fantasy. So yeah, this version adds a little bit of text at the end. Basically, this version's also weird because it has a long intro. Like, it has a really long intro compared to in X2, where they shorten it to just the, like, drop of the song, is where the song just starts. So that's another thing about it, is you barely hear it, because the match is over so fast, it barely even gets to the drop in time. Yeah, we don't get like a special ending image or anything, we just get the little text description, and it's also very vague, like how does she get her happiness? It totally doesn't even mention the jellyfish pirates or anything like that. So, in general, this is really not a good version in some ways, but an impressive version in other ways. It's one of those games where I'm happy and impressed that this exists, but hoo boy, would I probably recommend trying console version. By the way, the PS2 or Guilty Gear X started on Dreamcast, which again is why I mentioned, Naomi. Basically, Naomi was like an arcade board system, to my understanding, and a lot of games of that era ran on Naomi. X2, Good Manners and Customs, Writhe and Pain, Xrd, Ride the Fire, Strive, Symphony. Symphony is really good too. I like Gun manners and customs. I'm actually trying to remember which one that would be. I mean, I can look. I have a playlist set up. That's Zappa's theme. Huh. Zappa would be someone I'd want to see come back at some point. They did a poll, like a survey the other day. Unsurprisingly, Jam and Robokai were like the top 2 results almost unanimously. I was weird. I voted for like Valentine from Overture and Fanny from Petite, just because I felt like being contrary, since I knew Robokai and Jam would definitely get the top slots. So I'm like, I'm just gonna vote for characters who probably won't get any votes, because I want to be different and increase their chances. I've had Ghost Girls on the brain recently. I'm like, I thought that was all the time. What the heck is Tag Match? Now I'm curious what the heck any of this stuff is. Alright. Alright, guess we'll go Jam. I don't even know what this mode is. Like, do we tag out actively? I've never played this before, so this will be fun. I don't even know what button combination tags. Like Blast Sonic, Storyteller, Spell the Game. Those are the only names I know. That's fair. It's set. That's always reassuring. So yeah, how do we tag? Like, I genuinely don't know how that works. In terms of, like, how you tag out to the other character. Or if you can manually tag. I assume you can. Somehow. It's like all the buttons together. Nope. Maybe... I'm just pressing every button combination to see if one will eventually work. Oh yeah, I forgot to talk about Faultless Defense. I didn't need it at all. We might next time if we play X2, because that game is a lot ruder than X. Is this just a standard arcade run or something? Like, how does this work? Do we go back to the title screen? But like, imagine if this did end up on like NSO or something. People could run like tournaments of like Guilty Gear X Advance, and it'd be really fascinating. Like, I don't know how long this mode goes on, so we'll probably just end here. Yeah, this little intro bit they cut out in X2, and I think the song is better for it. I think it just kind of takes up time, so you never hear the, like, the good part of the song in the actual stage. At least that's how I feel. Then there's also 3v3, which means I have to think of a third character I actually know how to play in this game. Guess it's Kai. Yeah, I guess it would be. I'm like, who else do I know in this game? So yeah, these are modes only in GBA, so yeah, imagine if, like, they tried to do a tournament on this game. If this was on NSO, like, it'd be the wildest thing. I actually don't know if this has multiplayer. Guilty Gear gets a tournament in the venue bathroom, a la Melty Blood. I don't think I've heard that story about Melty Blood, but I completely believe that would have happened. Melty Blood's really fun, actually. Not that I've put much time into it. I've only played a little bit of, Actress Again, Another Code, I think is the name of it. Or something. Current Code. Another Code is something different. But I actually do kind of like it. I would like to try Type Lumina at some point. So Tag feels more like... Oh, you're playing by, like, Tag Fighter rules of being able to tag out, but I don't know the button for it. But then, conversely, 3v3 is just kind of like, you go in order. And then in the new game, there's a 3v3 mode, which is almost more like an assist fighter, where the other players can, like, do assist moves. That hasn't been added officially, but they did a beta that I completely neglected to download because I don't want to burn data on downloading Guilty Gear Strive a second time. Oh, that's bad, that's Dragon Install. And it's also really hurting my eyes. Do not like that. I also did that input completely by accident. I did not mean to actually super there, but it worked. wild game, in other words. This is a weird-ass version of Guilty Gear X, but again, I'm happy it exists. You know, actually this would have been the first time Guilty Gear was on a Nintendo console, so even if it wasn't for Accent Core and the first game being on Switch, and also Strive, well, sort of coming to Switch, it's complicated, this technically would have meant that Soul has been eligible for Smash Bros. Around the time of, like, Melee, but not feasible because of when it came out, but, like, at least by Brawl, like, they could have put a Guilty Gear character in at any time, which is, like, a weird thing to think about. Is like, yeah, there has been one this whole time, and thus, it would have counted. Alright. I don't even know how to find it on this menu. Okay. Actually, I think it's this. Am I taking Soul over Kazuya? Probably too. I was really hoping for Soul, or some kind of Guilty Gear. 2019, that would have been too early for the current, like, wave of popularity for Bridget, sadly. But I have seen people suggest, like, if they pull a Min Min and just choose who's the most popular character, is there a chance it could just be Bridget over Soul? And I think that could actually happen. Oh, that's an encoder drop for some reason. Don't know what caused that. I don't think my computer can handle this version of AFC. I think it's telling me to stop playing it. Because I just had a huge, like, drop there. Now, once it gets going, it's not the worst version of the song I've heard. Like, it's not good, but again, given the hardware, it's, like, kind of impressive that they got this close, given how ridiculously layered Guilty Gear music tends to be. But yeah, with Smash, I also probably would have taken a few characters over Kazuya in terms of other fighting reps. Who's Daisuke's favorite? It's obviously Soul, because he voiced Soul for so long. Soul is, like, basically the main character at this point. He always has been, to be fair. But I also would have taken, like, Magna over Kazuya, to be honest. Which would have worked because there was there was Blaze Blue Continuum Shift on 3DS, so technically it had been on a Nintendo console, so it would have been eligible, by that logic. I don't even play Ragna, or Jin. I think, is that his name? Jin? I don't play Blaze Blue much anymore. I kind of started playing Blaze Blue because I went through a huge weep phase, but then I fell out of it and then just started playing Guilty Gear more. Jim, my favorite Blaze Blue character. Oh, that was not the right button, but it made the music stop, so I guess I can't complain. So yeah, we went through all the major versions of Guilty Gear X, and we're not even at 2 hours yet. That went really fast, actually. To be honest, that went so fast, I don't know what to do, because normally I like streaming 2 hours, and we still have time left. I mean, I have an idea, but I don't know if it'll be a good idea, is the thing. I'm gonna close this so I don't have to keep listening to it, though. So yeah, at some point I'll go through X and X2 and Accent Core, which should also be relatively brisk. It'll be a little bit longer because, again, I actually have to play the full story mode. I can't just save state. So now X2 will take a bit longer. Accent Core only has 2 endings, so that'll be relatively quick and easy, I hope. And also X2 has a really stupid ending where you have to, like, win against an opponent with, like, a super, but also not take like 25% or more damage or something. It's really weird. Also, you have to like play Bridget's story first or something. It's complicated. I totally downloaded a save of X2 off like Steam's forums just so I could save all this headache. I actually have had this save file in hand for like a really long time because I've been wanting to do like a Guilty Gear marathon for a bit, but now that we finally have a release date, I figured now would be a good time to finally commit to the bit, as they say. I'm like, what do I do with the remaining time though? Like, I didn't plan for this. Also, Steam is telling me that I have an account alert, so that's mildly concerning. I don't know what that means. Oh, it's just they updated their agreement. Oh. It's like you have this big old yellow box that says, oh, you have an account alert, and it's just, oh, we updated our terms of service. It's like, thanks for the heart attack. Let's see. I don't even own the next season pass yet. I was kind of just sitting on it. You go to sleep, it's only 5:51. I've only been up for a few hours. Like, genuinely, I thought that would take the whole 2 hours, and it would have if I didn't save a state, to be blunt. But I might try to think of something else to switch to in the meantime, but I just don't have anything planned. You know what? I have an idea of a short thing to play. We're gonna go gender mode. This is a loud keyboard without the noise cancellation, probably. Probably very, like, interesting sounding. There's a game I've been thinking about streaming, but it's really short, so we're actually just gonna do it now. Do I even have it installed still? I should have probably looked before updating the title. Where would that even be? I think I have a separate itch folder for itch.io stuff specifically. Also need to audio balance. Gotta set it there for now. Just wing it. Dropping more frames because I just opened up a game, probably. That's fine. Gotta recenter this now. Boom. This is gonna be really short, but I like Celeste, so I've been kind of trying to find an opportunity to play this game on stream at some point. So now is a good time to do so. I don't even have a file on this setup at the moment. Maybe I deleted it already. But yeah, we're just gonna go through Celeste 64 because I have time to burn, basically. I need to remember how to play this, actually. That is potentially a little bit loud. I'm gonna lower that a little bit, like that. So yeah, this is just gonna be a chill vibe part of the stream. If you have any, like, stuff you want to talk about, go ahead. Like, ask me anything kind of a thing. Because we're just gonna chill for the rest of this night. Wow, that's a bad start. Cool. The audio is fine. Also, I'm not used to playing this on a DualSense, which I know sounds like a skill issue, but genuinely, I don't like using a DualSense for this game. I don't really like the analog stick placement on the DualSense, but it's what I have plugged in, so we're using it. Alright, we should talk to everybody. I don't know if I'll read out all the dialogue. I almost feel like I haven't established the precedent for what I want to do with dialogue in games, just because, like, I almost feel like my voice burns out too fast if I try to read all the dialogue. Did you take your E? I don't take it for another 2 hours, actually. Can I just revisit a beloved memory without being interrogated? Apparently not. So yeah, this is like unsurprising, and I hate to fall into the stereotype, but I really like Celeste. It was kind of like, I know the irony of me saying this, but it was, especially as I'm playing very badly right now, it was kind of a comfort game, despite how difficult it was. And this was even before all the gender stuff, but just from like the, what am I trying to say? The aspect of like anxiety, that's what I'm trying to say. I was just thinking also I should probably like post about this somewhere. I don't know if I want to go through all the servers again to update that though. It's like, do I go through literally every server where I posted it and say, hey, we switched games? I actually forgot to post in a couple servers. Oops. Again, clearly I'm an organized person. Yeah, we're just hanging out. Should be a nice little chill end of stream. I say chill as I play a game notorious, in a series notorious for being very difficult at times, but I genuinely find Celeste to be fairly chill. Except, like, obviously when you get to the seasides in Chapter 9 and stuff like that, it ceases to be chill. But beyond that, I do think these are just genuinely very fun little stages. I need to actually replay Celeste, 1, actually. I have it on Steam and want to get all the achievements that I can. I don't know if I'll get all of them, though. Some of them are, like, kind of ridiculous, to be honest. Alright, they also patched the game quite a bit. I say game, but it's only like one level. They patched it quite a bit to make it a little bit more accessible, so you don't have to worry about like clipping spikes as much as at launch, which is very nice, because that was definitely an annoyance on like day 1. Shoot. I do hope everyone's having an okay day though. I really hope everyone is also going to have a decent week. My last week was not the best for reasons I probably shouldn't talk about. Just personal stuff, but I am feeling okay at the moment. In general, I have been enjoying streaming a lot as sort of an excuse to like be more outgoing and try to like reach out to like, well, not reach out, but like, you know, be more social, I guess, in a way. Even if it's just kind of me talking to myself in essence sometimes. Alright, also, I think I have everything memorized, so this shouldn't be too bad. Probably like half an hour. But here's the big lore drop of this little bonus anniversary project is kind of interesting actually. It kind of makes me wonder because like, is this canon technically, or is this just a little fun bonus thing? Because like Granny is here, so I obviously can't be after Farewell. But I do like this little lore bit of, you know, Theo's sister and Madeline dating. I feel like I get this a lot in my life. I get told this on a semi-regular basis, I feel. But anyway, moving on. Where is our next stop? I think I'm gonna go for this one next. Alright, you are so gay? I'll take that as a compliment. I feel like it's kind of an odd... You should be gay more often. See, I don't want to overdo it though, is the thing. Oh shoot. I'm playing bad. Again, I hate to blame it on the controller, because that feels like I'm making an excuse, but it is partly just not being used to the feel of a DualSense. It's almost like I don't use my PS5 very often, to be extraordinarily blunt. Oh, right, there's like hidden signs too. Do not read. Since you found me, here's a tip. Just get jump, run full speed, and turn around quickly and smash that jump button. So it's like the side flip in Mario. This is basically vital for a few things. I've never read this sign before, by the way. This is literally my first time seeing that dialogue. Which is cool. Like, you know, having played this as many times as I have, I'm still like finding things about this that I never saw before. There's also something on the back of this, like, billboard. I'm trying to remember what it was. Oh, it's a smiley face. That's what it is. I was trying to remember. Yeah, I kind of worry about overdoing stuff like that. Yeah, this is not a great run, but this is just kind of a casual thing. On my own time, if I was playing, I'd probably reset by now and try to, like, do better at the death count, at least. I can't wait for the last stage if I'm playing like this already. Or maybe I'm just needing to warm up after just playing Guilty Gear. I'm just realizing we're essentially playing gender games today. If I started with Guilty Gear, and I mean, we saw Testament at least, even if Bridget won't be introduced until X2. But again, we saw Testament, and now we're playing Celeste, so it's the gender stream, officially. Alright, so, okay, that collapses, I forgot about that. Everyone who is gay should be gay more often. So true. See, there's even a sign that says E. I'm sure that's not what they meant, but I'm gonna roll with that joke anyway. I actually don't know when I'm streaming the rest of the week, though. I might take a break from Guilty Gear, do like a once a week thing. Partly because there aren't that many games that Disney's in. Again, I might even break out like Iska and what's the other one? Dust Strikers and Judgment. If I totally run out of games and we still have time, or I could just play Strive and actually try to warm up, which would probably be good. So I know the mechanics, though to be fair, it's not like I ever knew the mechanics of this game. Like, I always forget the RC in any Guilty Gear, basically. Not just the ones where it's mapped to a really weird button combo. Yeah, there are a lot of signs that say E, and I wonder if that was on purpose or not. Or if I'm just reading too much into it because of the community that I have surrounded myself with. Alright, so with that, we are now a third of the way through. Still making very good time through this. There's also one in this box, I think. Yep. We also have another hidden sign. This one teaches you about, like, dash jumping. If I'm remembering right. You know that you can dash jump. Just dash and then jump, genius. The dash jump is a long, low leap. Give it a shot. Or don't. I'm a sign, not a cop. Alright, so, I don't dash jump. It's too scary. I mean, saying women pretty is... I'd say that qualifies. Oh shoot, there's one down here too. Get that before we forget. Or, because I'm prone to forgetting stuff, and if I don't... I lack object permanence sometimes. You know, it's like, oh yeah, I totally forgot to do this thing that I definitely was supposed to do. This one sucked at launch because if you pushed up too much, you clip the spikes, but they fixed it. So you don't, like, try to climb up by accident. So, in my opinion, that's a very good change. It makes this whole section a lot more tolerable. Now I'm gonna do something stupid here, but we'll see if it pays off. Trying to get both switches, like that. Fun thing, I often die at the end because I try to dash jump and then plummet. So don't do that because unless you're a speedrunner and like know what you're doing with like angles, because I have definitely died at the very end of that more times than I'd care to admit. So next one's a little weird. We have to basically make all the platforms fall. Yes, women do be pretty. And so are men and NBs also. Everyone's pretty. Alright, this part sucks. Trying to jump at a very narrow target like that. Then make this jump. Hey, first try, I'll take it. Alright, halfway there. And we'll get that stuff later. We'll move on to this quadrant. Also, the game's kind of lagging a little bit. I don't know if that's coming through on the stream. It probably is, but it's fine. But Celeste is a weird game because it wasn't like directly influential to like my coming out. It definitely lined up timing-wise, because when did the game come out? Like 2018? So I definitely would have been playing it around the time that I was going through all this like self-discovery, basically. But again, I don't think it directly had an influence, especially because Farewells, where they actually directly confirm what everyone kind of was suspecting, to be fair. There were a lot of theories that Madeline might have been trans based on some hints in the main game, but it wasn't actually directly confirmed until Farewell. That was a very roundabout way of saying it. You know what? I should play Sunshine. I mean, the music is making me think of it, but like, I should play Sunshine at some point. I actually will say I'm a major Super Mario Sunshine defender. Like, I know that game is very, very rough around the edges and very annoying at parts, but it's a game I will always swear by as one of my favorites because of just growing up with it, basically. It's nostalgia. I won't try to sugarcoat it. It's like almost... It's a lot of nostalgia. Alright, so far so good. Making very good time. I actually don't have the timer up though, so I can't see how well I'm doing. I should have gotten the checkpoint. That was very silly of me to just go guns a-blazing, I say, as if, you know, Madeline uses guns. But you know what I mean. Just jump right in to the abyss. I have All-Stars. I could just do an All-Stars marathon at some point. Like all 3 games. I also really like Galaxy. I don't know if I've ever talked about that, to be honest. I mean, I've talked about Rosalina enough that people probably assumed I liked Galaxy at this point. When is Celeste getting in Fortnite? See, I hear Celeste and think, are they just putting the entire mountain into Fortnite? I mean, I wouldn't be opposed. I don't... See, like with Fortnite, I've started and then stopped Sunshine multiple times. Again, it's a game where I have a ton of love for it, because I was, like, very young, and it was, like, my first 3D platformer. But whenever people are like, I don't like Sunshine for XYZ reason, I'm like, yeah, no, that's completely fair. I cannot fight anyone who does not enjoy Sunshine, because they are all correct, to be blunt. Maybe I just have, like, I've been Stockholm Syndrome into liking Sunshine or something. I don't know if that's like a weird way to put it, that I'm saying it out loud though. You have to actually dash at the very end here or else you'll clip the spike, so... There's a lot of things in this that are just designed to screw you up at the end, and more fortunately, so it can be very frustrating, but that's just like normal Celeste. You can also skip a lot by just jumping straight into that feather, like so. Like, here's a weird hypothetical question, but like, if you could pick any character or franchise to be in Fortnite, which would you pick? Because I actually don't think I have an answer. I'm genuinely trying to think, and it's more like characters that are already represented in Fortnite in some ways. You, I wonder if they could ever do like a character creator for Fortnite, or if that would like cut into like skins, if you could just make approximations of certain characters. Oh shoot, that was bad. Burned the dash too soon. This one sucks, by the way. I am not a fan. So if we get through this like second try, because we already burned one try, I'll chop you in, but like again. I wasn't aware they were in the first time. Also, there's like Lego Fortnite, but not as in the mode, but like actual Lego sets for Fortnite now. They actually look pretty alright. This angle sucks, basically, and it makes the entire level way more frustrating than it should be, so I'm glad I got that part first try at least. The part I was dreading, I got right away, so that was nice. 22! I know exactly what's gonna happen in a couple of strawberries. Now that I'm thinking about it, I'm sure something is gonna come up as soon as I didn't hit the checkpoint. As soon as I get a few more, I'm sure I can predict exactly how some people in chat are going to react. Alright. Try this again. This is where you have to, like, learn to side flip, because you need it to actually jump up and conserve your momentum. I will say the camera is not the best in this. Like, I feel like my depth perception is never good in this, and that causes a lot of deaths. But again, that might just be a skill issue in some ways. There's also another hidden sign back here. Someone's lonely. Thank you for noticing me. Here's a tip. If you want to look up, zoom the camera all the way in. You notice what you'll see up there. I surely don't know for I'm but a humble signpost. So yeah, if you like zoom in all the way, you can kind of get an aerial look. Draw distance is really good, actually. Again, that's one way that this is unrealistic. It's like, I shouldn't be able to see that cassette from here. So now we have to do this, and we're good. 24! I guess we might as well get this one out of the way. So there are two ways to do this. One, using platforms to yeet yourself across the gap. The other way is the slow way, which is what I'm electing to do for the sake of, you know, not being here all night. But just carefully taking this double crystal all the way to the start of the area. You also don't want to hit checkpoints, otherwise you have to basically go through everything again. If you actually fall at this point, you will go back to the cabin, so it's better. You know what's funnier than 24? 25. Which is the next strawberry. Oh shoot, that's bad. I'm just gonna take the death. But yeah, this is the other way to do this. Like, just basically using this platform's momentum to fling yourself. But this is, like, I don't think that's necessarily intended. It's an option, but I don't think that's on, like, not an intended option. Maybe it is. Celeste, as a game, I think, was generally speedrun friendly in a way that they might have put that in on purpose, but, who knows? I do like how there's a little, like, line showing your drop shadow. That's honestly a really cool detail. Yeah, basically I thought this platform would go farther than it did, so I had to jump sooner than I actually did, so... Or I can just botch the last part of it, that works too. See, like, if I had to pick a character to add to Fortnite, I'd just put more Resident Evil stuff in. I'd pick Ada to put into Fortnite. Though I also just had the mental image of Ethan Winters from 7 and 8 being in Fortnite, but they stick to the game logic where something is always blocking his face. That was like the weirdest decision they made for Resident Evil 7 and 8, where they just were like, oh, it's a first-person game, so like, you can never see his face. It's like, why? That's so arbitrary. And even in the third-person mode for Village, they still block his face at all times. Like, he's always looking away from the camera, or something really silly like that. I don't remember the details, but I just remember thinking it was very odd. Guilty Gear would be funny. I don't know who they'd put in though, to be honest. I feel like the obvious choice would be like Sol and Kai, but I almost feel like if they wanted to make more money, they'd put Bridget in. Actually, no, Elphelt would make sense because she actually uses a gun. Yeah, imagine Elphelt in Fortnite. That'd be funny. Alright, so, 4 more to go. Trying to remember if I'm missing any. I feel like I am. Three cassettes. What am I missing? I feel like I'm missing one. It's probably over here if I had to guess, but I genuinely don't know if it is. I got that one over there. Soul Kite, Elphelt, Brisket. I feel like almost Ramlethal would work too. In general, I do feel like Guilty Gear would be an interesting fit for Fortnite. But then again, in a series that also has like Goku and, you know, yeah, Theo honestly is a really good choice. I haven't actually played Metal Slug, but I do like Theo's design. Did Tactics ever get a release date? I think it did, but I forget what it was. Where the hell is this, actually? I'm completely drawing a blank here. There might just be 3 cassettes left. I might just be thinking, or 4 cassettes left. I got that one. Genuinely, I'm like racking my brain trying to remember which one I'm missing, because I feel like we should be at 27 by now. Because I know where 3 are, I don't know where the last one is though. So I guess we'll just gotta move on and check this out at least. In general, I think Fortnite is sort of like... It's like, oh, I know where it is. I totally understand why I forgot about this one. So we'll go back for that, if I remember, after this. There we go. Kinda messes me up a little bit, because I normally would go straight to the final area. Just says 4th quarter, dang. Because that looks really interesting, but I feel like it just keeps getting delayed, or not even, like, confirmed for a release date. It's one of those where it's like, I don't know if I can actually sort of get delayed if it doesn't have a date to begin with, I guess. This is the one I forgot. I'm not shocked whatsoever. This is very remote, to be honest. And also completely out of sight in most angles, so yeah, easy to forget that one. From here, what would be the best way to approach the top? Guess, like, here? I mean, that works. That's not normally how I get that, but that's actually very effective. Have to keep that in mind for the future. 2 more left, and then we're done. This one's kind of annoying, though, because you have to, like, be really good at side flips. And it's, like, a little bit awkward. Again, I almost feel like the camera makes it harder to side flip than it would be otherwise. Now this part's, like, the final climb. I also would like to do Celeste proper at some point on stream, but I have no clue when, because that game is, like, really long, and also kind of challenging, too, obviously, and I would like to go through Farewell as well. I know a lot of people, like, really dislike going through Farewell, and here I am, like, I should play it again, as I've already played it, like, 5 times. I don't know what that says about me, to be honest. Anyway, we're gonna get the checkpoint, obviously, so I don't have to do that all over again. And then we'll jump into the final cassette before talking to Badeline. This one's hard. I almost feel like it's more long than anything, so like, it's not inherently that difficult, but if you do mess up, you have to do a lot over again, which is what makes it more challenging than being inherently difficult in some ways. But like, the core fundamentals of it aren't that bad. If you know what to do, it's just a matter of figuring everything out, and then, developing the muscle memory for it. In terms of games for the rest of the year, I actually don't know if I'm looking forward to much. Oh shit, are we gonna see a gender moment? I thought the entire game was a gender moment. The entire stream has kind of been a gender moment. Well, again, with testament being the lack of gender in a way. Damn, I almost got the first try. I'm kind of impressed I got that close, to be honest. Alright, so far so good. A little bit more to go until the hard part. I am realizing my biggest issue is I think those like launcher platforms are gonna go farther than they actually do, and thus I don't jump soon enough. That's been my biggest cause of death so far. I'm gonna wait for this cycle. There we go. This part also is scary. Clip the side, cool. Hey, so far this is actually a really smooth run. We did finish the bulk of it under like half an hour, which is nice. I'm glad I thought of this because I was like, what game can I finish like quickly? And this just kind of sprang to mind of like, oh yeah, this works. I never closed Steam. I also realized maybe that's why the game is running kind of bad. Oh shoot, I didn't think I'd actually grab that. Okay. Luckily, Madeline does have unlimited grab in this game, which is different than actual Celeste. Alright, home stretch. But you have to time this very precisely, otherwise you will not have enough distance to actually break the window. So it's very frustrating to hit the window and then just grab onto it and not shatter it. And it's happened to me more times than I care to admit, to be blunt. Alright, so our final time is... Actually, no, because we hit the flag, I think. The timer... Maybe it didn't keep going. Maybe I just finished this fast. Anyway, this is Badeline. So this is effectively the end. How are you holding up? You're really going to do this? You always make us do hard things. Yeah, I guess I do. Why can't you just be happy? And this is why Celeste resonates with me, even though the game itself is very difficult and challenging. Also, I like hard platformers more than most. I think I have a high tolerance for, like, difficult platforming. Weirdly enough, specifically 2D, I think. I don't have so much patience for 3D platformers, oddly enough. Alright, so that basically wraps up the game. This is actually the only voice part is the credits where they just
Celeste 64, Fragments of the Mountain.
Read out everything.
Created in a week-ish by the Celeste team. Maddie Thorson, Noel Berry, Amora B, Pedro Medeiros, Lena Rain, Heidi Mata, and Kevin Regami and Jeff Tangsock of Power Up Audio. Special thanks. Maddie would like to thank Sarah and Zed, for their love and support. Noel thanks Yvonne for being chill and cool. Amora would like to thank Kiki, Zach, Rose, and Phil for being so loving and fun. Pedro would like to thank Isa for saving his Git merges, Pedro Damasceno, and everyone from Shinela for helping him learn 3D. Jeff would like to thank his good friend Stelmack. Kevin thanks Zoe for her boundless support, even when it comes to silly projects like this one. Lena would like to thank Bobbin for being a cat. Heidi would like to thank Brian for being awesome, and Furi for being perfect. And lastly, thank you to Celeste players everywhere. Your love and passion for our little game continues to inspire us.
Alright, so that brings us to the end of this playthrough. That was short, again, as planned. This did not take very long at all. Honestly, given that this was done in like a week, I think this is really impressive. It's a nice little, like, you know, throwback love letter to the original game for the anniversary. It's very straightforward. Again, I've also played this multiple times to the point where it's like, I definitely flew through that really fast because of just having played it. My first playthrough took me like 2 hours to put things in perspective. But yeah, and also finding everything took a while, as people were kind of doing it on the fly a bit, trying to locate all the strawberries and everything. But yeah, I do really enjoy Celeste as a series. There's also like the Pico 8 games too. One is included, but then there's also a second game as well. And yeah, I feel like this is just oddly kind of a comfort series, despite how difficult it is, partly because depression, and partly because, you know, transcoded, or just directly trans-stated, by the DLC, or the final patch update. So yeah, this was fun. Again, I would love to go through actual, like, Celeste at some point, but that is a much longer game, and also harder because there's so much more to it. So I have no clue when that will be, or I might try to revisit this for a better time. Obviously speedrunning is wild for this game, you can just skip everything and go straight to the end. There's even, like, archipelago support now, so you can actually, like, have everything tied to an archipelago, and like different strawberries, and I think even moves you can find in other games, or other people's games, and thus you have to, like, you know, work together to try to unlock everything, and like you can set the number of strawberries to have as like the clear condition as well. So again, it's really impressive. Plus the modding scene for actual Celeste is really impressive too. Tons of cool like fan levels have come out of this game. We're just checking something. Yeah, the timer does actually keep going, so we genuinely did finish it in under half an hour. That is very impressive, actually, for not having played it and being very rusty. So yeah, that was very fun. I almost still feel like I could keep streaming, and to be honest, like I almost feel like I still have the energy to keep going a little bit longer. But I don't know if I should, or if I should just, like... The actual Mount Celeste is on Vancouver Island in British Columbia. It is next to Lake Buttle. Oh, that's interesting. I think I knew the Vancouver part. I didn't know the Lake Buttle part. I'm not into mountain climbing, but I almost wonder it would be, like, funny at some point as a trans person to try to, like, see Mount Celeste just to say I've been there. You know, BC isn't terrible. Actually, it's like 5 to 10 hours away. It's not close. But, you know, being on the west coast, it's not, like, overly far away. So yeah, I'm trying to think of if I wanted to do anything else, like if I can think of any other short games, preferably involving gender, since that's like the connective tissue of the two games we've played so far. But I'm actually not thinking of any other short gender games I would like to do right now. We'll probably be back on Wednesday for something. I think we're gonna alternate games, like, you know, if I do 2 streams a week at the current schedule, I'm probably going to start Shadow the Hedgehog on Wednesday and keep that as like the Wednesday game, and then just go through all the Guilty Gears as a Monday game until Dizzy's in Strive, in which case I'll just stream that whenever the heck I feel like it. Because that release date's like a Thursday or something, and I'll definitely have been playing by then anyway, because it's like, you know, midnight on that date, so I definitely will have already been playing Dizzy by the time I stream that update. I also should do a Strive stream anyway, just to know if it runs, because I actually don't know if it'll, like, run without, like, dropping a crap ton of frames, so it's like, I should probably look into that first. when you play Disney Call Me, I will let you know. Yeah, I might try to do like multiplayer rounds, like host a lobby or something. I actually don't know how to do that, so that'll be a fun new experience. Or just do ranked, potentially. Try to farm people who are trying to get used to this character and don't know how to counterplay. But also, just, I hate doing this. I feel like I'm shilling myself, and I feel like I'm really bad at shilling myself too. But I guess I should mention I am almost to 50 followers, so like that's the affiliate benchmark, I guess, is the lack of a better word. Currently at 48, so I am probably gonna try to be better about talking about followers, but I also always feel bad because I feel like I'm guilt tripping people. So like, hey, follow, because we're almost to this goal. I don't want to like force it. I want it to happen naturally, but it's just been kind of like, oh, I've been at this like the precipice of this like goal for a week now, and it's just like, I wish I was better at self-promoting. I guess this is a good time to talk about this as we're standing on top of like the highest point in Celeste 64 to just talk about some deep shit for a little bit, instead of just moving on, because again, it's like, you know, I could wrap up now, but I almost feel like I have enough like energy to hang out a little bit longer, even if I can't think of another game to play. Anxiety sucks. That's like an extremely cold take, obviously. Like, I wasn't even sure if I was gonna stream today, or if I was gonna stream today, if it would be Guilty Gear, because I had this moment of like, oh, if I stream this game, what if it hurts, like, viewership or something? And I know that's a really shallow way of looking at it, and not healthy at all. But sometimes I worry about that, because it's like, even though I am someone who is just doing this as a hobby for now, it'd be nice to be able to, like, have emotes, and, like, the option to do polls and stuff, and, like, you know, channel point stuff. Like, I have plans, again, based on layouts and stuff. You can probably, I guess, that I've definitely overplanned for streaming. Again, basically my streaming ideas got pushed back like several months, like half a year practically. So I ended up having a lot of stuff done, and earlier than I meant to, or really needed it. So because of that, I guess I've just been feeling a little antsy in a way. Not that I have anything like emotes or anything lined up. But there's this overall feeling of, like, streaming is difficult, like... And I guess I feel, like... conflicted, almost, in a way, just because it's, like... I guess, like, I don't know what I'm doing. I kind of feel like I'm just flailing around, and I'm not quite sure what I'm doing, but, like, people will still, like, hang out and chat, and it makes me happy. And I wish I had more time and, like, energy to return the favor for people, because I know a lot of people who stream, and I just don't have, like, the energy to catch everyone's streams, or it's like people are streaming before I'm even awake, or things like that. And I just kinda wish I could stop by more. So sometimes I feel this, like, guilt over that. So that's kind of something I'm dealing with at the moment. It's just, like, imposter syndrome, and just, like, yeah, why me, kind of? Why do people like me as much as they do? And just, like, everything has happened very fast in my life the last year. And, like, a lot of good things have happened this year. Like, it's not bad things, for the most part. Well, okay, yeah, there's some bad things, for sure. But, like, a lot of good things have happened this year. And it's, like, a little bit frustrating in a way that I feel like my own, like, mental health is kind of getting in the way of that a little bit. Where it's like, oh, you finally have a lot of good things happening to you, but, like, when's the bottom gonna fall out, kind of? or whatever the expression is. I don't know if that's remotely correct. Streaming really is difficult, but you're doing great. People just like you. You're full of fun and enthusiasm. You deserve good things. Thank you, Esper. And thank you, Peter, as well. Again, I do apologize. I can't, make it to everyone's streams or be chatty because I have my own spoons that, frankly, I'm putting into streaming. And that's another thing I kind of feel bad about, to be honest, is like, streaming is kind of like the one time I try to have energy, and then beyond that, I just kind of crash for the rest of the day. And I feel kind of like, I don't know, fake it till you make it in a way, but still, it just causes such an energy crash after that I'm like, oh, this isn't transferring to real life as quickly. The fake it till you make it part, I'm faking it, but I'm not making it, I guess, is how I'm trying to put this. So yeah, it's like a complicated situation where I simultaneously feel this like happiness from doing this and this sort of like how to put this? There's a chance for me to try to break out of my shell more. Hot egg shell. I'm sure there's a pun there somewhere, but I'm not awake enough to formulate that. But I do feel like I am someone who kind of doesn't break out of her shell very easily. I'm someone who just kind of does not want to break out and make myself big presence, kind of. Streaming as a way to kind of force myself to be more outgoing and actually like put myself out there and be a little bit more assertive. Again, if I ever get to the point of like, collabs, I have to be the one to just DM people like, yo, what's a good time for you? And that's like scary because I don't even like DMing people I'm super close to, because there's always this fear of like, oh, what if people are busy? What if people don't want to hear from me right now? So that's just me overthinking, to be honest. And I know it's me overthinking, but just saying I'm overthinking is not enough sometimes, because the brain is gonna brain. So yeah, those are some deep thoughts on top of Celeste Mountain, or whatever this counts as for Celeste Mountain. I appreciate everyone who's like stuck by me. Again, as someone who's been through a lot of like stuff in recent years. Not even recent years, it was many years ago. But I just kind of got used to like, not hoping for good things very much. But a lot of good has happened this year. And yeah, there's been some bad too, but I think it overall has been a hell of a lot better than 23 for me. And I wish I could say that about all my friends, because I know so many people right now who are like really going through it. And it really also sucks from the perspective of like, I feel like I'm kind of going somewhere with my life, and it feels like other people can't. Like, people are just kind of stuck where they are because of, like, outside circumstances and everything, and it's just kind of like, I wish I could do more to help everybody. But that's kind of where I'm at right now. I don't know if I should have dropped all this on stream, to be honest. I don't know if I should have just kept this to my, like, group chats and not talk about it on a place that I'll probably archive. I guess maybe it's a good thing to have it out there, to, if other people are feeling, like, these same feelings, that's like, oh, other people are feeling it too, it's not just me. Because that's something that's helped me out quite a bit, actually, is this sort of, like, feeling that I'm not alone in how I'm feeling, if that makes sense, but again, I almost feel like I'm getting very off track, to be honest. Also, I forgot to mention the other characters all have, like, multiple sets of dialogue, too. I don't remember it being so floaty in 3D, though. Maybe I've been playing too many old games lately. And see, that's something that hits close, to be honest. Oh boy, that's a whole other can of worms that I don't know if I should open up on stream right now. To be totally honest. Yeah, in general though, it's just a feeling of like wanting to do more, wanting to be more around to help people. You know, wish I could do more, but there's only so much I can do with a lot of people's problems. And so there's like a frustration to that. Mad people. Oh. Yeah, thanks everyone for the support and for listening to me like ramble about what's been on my mind. Not that these are new thoughts, to be blunt. I feel like I sometimes go in circles with my brain. Which again, all this is to say, hey, there's a reason I like Celeste. If you ever wonder why do I like Celeste so much, it's because it resonates to a very deep level. And again, even if I don't think it's a perfect game by any means, mostly just because there's some cheap bullshit at parts. I mean, it's meant to be that way. It's kind of meant to be like, oh, it's supposed to represent the challenge that she's going through, but it's just like a little bit much sometimes. It's a little excessive to the point of just being like not fair, but again, it's almost like a deliberate unfairness that makes it really hard to like judge how I feel about it. I have no clue if that makes sense or not, but like it's almost how I feel about Kaizo. It's like, oh, Kaizo's really unfair. It's like literally the whole point of it's to be unfair. So it's like kind of critiquing it for being good at what it's doing, almost. But Celeste definitely feels like a case of it's not meant to be that all the time, and so there are just genuine cases where it goes too far. Chapter 9 actually got nerfed pretty badly throughout its release. They had to cut out a lot of stuff from it, or like tone down a lot of stuff from it, just because it was getting way too over the top. As someone who beat Chapter 9 day 1 across like multiple 4-hour session, like 2 4-hour sessions or something ridiculous. Yeah, no, it was a little much, but they did make it easier. It's still ridiculously difficult, but again, it's marginally easier, at least. I'm climbing back up just because I want to. Again, at this point, I'm just kind of like, I don't know, I don't want to end stream quite yet, I guess. I'm like putting it off in a way. Don't know how long I can put it off for, but like just to hang out a little bit, because again, I don't feel like I've gotten many opportunities to. It's partly because I haven't streamed as much as I would have liked. Again, I thought about doing Friday for a while, but ended up just not having the spoons for it very much. So yeah, 2 days was a better starting point, partly just because my sleep schedule is bad and I need to fix that too, before I can stream more consistently. But again, I would like to get to the point of streaming like more days than I currently am. I'm trying to think of anything else on my mind lately. I guess it's just a sort of feeling like I hope I'm doing good. I hope I'm doing enough. I hope I am enough to like everybody. Because like I'm definitely someone who feels like, oh, if I'm doing everything, if I'm carrying the entire world on my shoulders, it still doesn't feel like I'm doing enough. It feels like I'm still, you know, not as much of a success as I would like, though that partly plays into like, oh, you know, being a dropout and everything. There's this whole other can of worms that again, I probably shouldn't dive into too deeply. But yeah, my life has been weird. My life has been very eventful, to the point where it's like, all of this can be traced back to very specific trauma points, in terms of like how I contextualize and, you know, think through things. It's like, it's very easy to trace very specifically where things come from, where certain anxieties come from. I almost feel like this is a setup, though. Like, it almost feels like they're setting up for like a sequel or something, but I don't know if that was the intent here. Maybe for another anniversary they'll do like Celeste 64 2, since they did a 2 for the Pico 8 game also. So yeah, in general, I still think streaming is fun. I will do my best to stay on the current schedule I am on, which is Monday and Wednesday around 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time or Daylight Time, depending on Celeste 65. What happened to Celeste 3 through 63? Yeah, but again, for the sake of like literally getting anything done, I would like to stream more often or longer. That'd be the alternative. Stream like a longer duration of time. Today was like a problem because it's like, oh, that's way shorter than I thought it'd be because of skipping so much of X plus. So that was partly on me for not having any other plans. But again, nice little introspective hours at the end, I suppose. Yeah, I'll keep doing my best, because that's all I can do. Trying to make the right choices, right calls. Trust my gut, as they say. And yeah. I don't know what else to say at this point. I feel like I've already spilled enough of what's on my mind as is in a way. To the point where it's like, I kind of feel like I said too much here. That was a yawn if you're wondering why my model reacted that way. Again, I'm realizing I need to be more cognizant of my mannerisms if I'm technically, in a way, on camera. Yeah, I think I am running out of steam now. So yeah, I should probably wrap up soon. But again, it was kind of nice to be able to talk about this a little bit. You know, get some of these thoughts out of my mind. You know, put them into the ether, as they say, in the air. To just get them out and not just, you know, rattling around inside my little head. I was trying to figure out if this is like a remix of another song in the series. Yeah, I think I'll call it there for now. I hope everyone has a good day, rest of their day, good evening, as it were. And a good, week. So I have a new week, and so I have a new month, too, with October around the corner. I'm looking forward to October, but no, I'm not looking forward to November, and if you have to ask why, I'm American, and I'll leave it at that. Not entirely excited to see how things pan out, for a multitude of reasons. So yeah, let's hope for the best, and yeah. Thank you all for watching. Thanks for chatting, for lurking, for all the support as always. It really means a lot to me. And yeah, I guess we will leave it there for now. So yeah, thank you all for watching, and I'll see ya later. Also, I was thinking about it, and it's like, unfortunately, I don't really see anyone I would like to raid. Just to explain, it's like, I don't... There's a lot of channels where it's like, we could raid, but it's just a case of like, I don't know, because I don't really talk to in certain people's chats very often, even if I like lurk and stuff. So sometimes I feel self-conscious. That's why I tend to just raid the few streamers I do, just because it's like, oh, I've been around these chats long enough that I feel like it's not going to be a problem if I raid in. Plus, I have no clue what to even raid with after this long spiel at the end. Just keep an eye on, but I don't know if there'd even be any indication of one streamer today. But yeah, raid you, but you're not streaming. I mean, can you raid a stream that's offline? Yeah, I don't know if I'll even put all of this whole thing up on, like, YouTube, or if I'll just cut it sooner, like, cut out the middle part and just skip to the end, because of all the heavy talk. But again, we'll see. I'll decide. You can. We'll have to keep that in mind. But, I'm trying to think of if I did have anything else to say, though. I feel like I did, though, is the thing. Like some other thought I wanted to let out, but I just never quite picked it up again. Yeah, schedule, that's the other thing. I never talked about that, but again, probably starting Shadow the Hedgehog on Wednesday unless plans change. We'll go through a couple of the story routes, hopefully in one stream. Aiming for 2, but that might be generous, depending on which 2. We'll probably start, like, top and work our way down, is kind of my feeling. No, actually, I think it'd be better to fan out. So, like, we're gonna start with the middle path, and then, like, fan out from there, so then the like, hero, or, like, the like, semi-hero and semi-dark path, and then, like, the true dark and true hero path at the end. Something like that. But again, we'll see. But again, I would like to get through Shadow the Hedgehog around the time, like, preferably before the new game comes out, just because of, you know, interest levels and everything. But it's okay. I'm, again, not streaming at day 1 just because I have too much stuff to play, and that's not a priority because it'll probably be on sale soon. I mean, okay, fine. Let's do this. Just to see if it'll work. I'm actually just also looking through follows in general, just because I'm curious. I don't know how this works. We're searching. Again, this, like, raid system is very confusing to me, to be honest. Saying no channel found, and when I try to search for a raid target, so I don't know if you can raid offline with this system at least. I might have to type in manually. Yeah, maybe in the future if I can figure that out, but again, that might be funny at some point. But again, I think I should probably call it here. So for real, thank you all for stopping by. / raid name. See, I keep trying to do an outro, and now I'm like, my interest is peaked of if this'll work or not. This channel has follower, subscriber only chat, it says. But it is working, it actually went through, dang. That's funny, actually. Yeah, for real though, thank you all for stopping by, and yeah, I hope to stream again on Wednesday, and we'll do something different. Yeah, thank you, and take care everybody.